If you don't think your tax dollars should go to the arts, you definitely don't want to hear where it goes in terms of sports, and you certainly don't believe in the US economy. So the arts dollars for the NEA has been since 1970, though the NEA was founded in 1965. But if we want to use a comparison, there's been $6 billion from 1970 to 2020 spent on the arts by the NEA. That does come out of your tax money, but it is 0.003 of our national budget. Similarly, if we looked at that same time period for taxes that went to building sports buildings, you have $33 billion. And interestingly enough, the NEA itself serves 45 million people annually and 4,500 communities. But statistically, more people are served by museums annually than all of the sporting events put together. And the vast majority of American museums are free. So they are free public spaces for people, for the people. And sports spaces take taxes, but then also take your money. So but then you're like, but I don't ever go to the museum. Well, that is fine. But arts and culture is 4.2% of our GDP, bringing in $1.1 trillion. Now, I've thrown a lot of numbers at you, partly because I think most of us who are in America don't realize how much of an economic driver arts and culture is. And so if you don't want your tax dollars to go to the arts, I get it. But definitely think about how it is a larger economic driver than, say, coal. Coal has currently 38,400 people working in the coal industry. And while the number of people working in arts and culture is hard to define because many people have to work multiple jobs, so they might not be able to list arts and culture. They might have a day job and then also sell art on the side, work as a wedding photographer and have a day job. There's at least 5.2 million people working in the arts right now. Those are all just the numbers about the economy of the arts. The other thing about the arts is that the arts is almost always, when it comes to tax funding, about educating people. The way that we fund the NEA, the way that we fund even state organizations, you have to have a strong, clear educational impact. So when you say, I hate contemporary art, I don't want my tax dollars to go to that, it's not. It's not going to that. Your tax dollars are going to children learning how to read better by listening to music because it has been shown to improve reading scores. Your dollars are going to children going to museums so that they understand history, because history repeats itself if you don't understand it. The thing that we see is that states that have more dollars spent on the arts have greater educational achievement by their students. And those students then make more money, and those states are more wealthy. The wealth gap in the United States is huge, but the wealth gap between states is enormous. So the wealth gap, say, from Massachusetts to Alabama is extraordinary. Massachusetts has always spent money on the arts. It's because they understood that the arts is money and the arts is our future. It's the way that children will succeed in any field. The arts are not about teaching kids to be fine artists. The arts are about teaching kids to think for themselves. And so in the end, if you don't want your tax dollars going to the arts, maybe your issue is you hate the economy, you hate education, but I think probably the biggest thing is you fear the idea that thinking for yourself is possible. Because that's the thing that arts programs in the United States do. They teach everyone about possibilities. They teach them both about the possibilities that exist in the world, but they also open their minds up to new ways of thinking. They make them better at all kinds of things. Think about the trades. The trades are something that actually require a lot of elements of art. You need to understand composition. You need to understand order. You need to understand systems. Those are all things that an arts education can increase. Think about if you want to become somebody who has to talk for a living. The arts are about communication. And by talking for a living, I mean a CEO. I mean, and by talking for a living, I mean a CEO. I mean a doctor. I mean a lawyer. There's lots of jobs where communication is key. And the arts are all about communication. So I obviously have just, lambasted you perhaps with lots of facts and ideas. But the reason I did it is because I think that what happens politically is that we decide that the arts is about some loosey goosey, hippies doing something in a corner, making stuff I don't understand. But the arts is a big word for a lot of different educational tools that we use as a country to make the future of our country better for the people of our country. It's about the future of our economy and the way that we grow our economy. And it's most importantly about the future of our citizens and how our citizens grow as people and help us become a better place in the future. Thank you for watching this episode. If you have questions or if you have ideas or if you have disagreements, feel free to put them in the comments, like, follow, subscribe, tell a friend. Thank you for watching Artlust.